Lou here, and I'm back for more actionable sales content from Cognism, the premium B2B data provider. My video today is a cold calling masterclass, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. No frills, no waffle, just 10 top tips from Cognism's SDR team. So it's time to smile and dial. If you work in B2B sales, you've probably heard this saying a lot. Cold calling is dead. And I'm here to tell you that it isn't. Email, social media, video, these are all great, sure, but the best way to get your prospect's attention and hold it's through the phone. But there's a big difference between cold calling and cold calling well. The reason that a lot of companies claim cold calling is dead is because they're not doing it right. For this video, I asked Cognism's own SDRs for the top cold calling tips that are working for them right now. Starting with number 1, build a highly targeted lead list. The first 3 tips relate to things you should do even before you pick up the phone. Trust me, in cold calling, preparation is everything. And a key part of that cold call prep is making sure you have an up-to-date lead list. And so why is this so important? If your list of leads is filled with expired information, you'll waste time calling people who've long since changed their jobs or companies. And in sales, time is money, right? So how do you go about building a highly targeted, accurate lead list? Think about who you want to talk to and who will get the most value or benefit out of your product or service. So here are some questions to help you get this right. What industry are they in? What's their job title? How big is their company? How many employees do they have? Have they just joined the company and are looking to make a mark? And what kind of technology are they using day to day? Are they using any of your competitors? Then once you've got the answers to these questions written down, you should put all of them together on one template. This is your ideal customer profile, or ICP. It's a checklist of all the traits you should be looking for in a new prospect. Here are Cognism's ICP. When you've got your ICP worked out, all you have to do next is find prospects that exactly fit that profile. Those are the people that you have to call. Number 2, write a basic script. Before you pick up the phone to call that prospect, ask yourself one important question: how can I help? Successful cold calls aren't about you or your product. They're about the prospect and how your product can make their life easier. To help get your thoughts in order, write a script for your cold calls. Don't make it too detailed. Basic is fine. If your script contains too much info, chances are you'll stifle the conversation or come across as a robot. People never respond to that. All you need to do is list the following. Number 1, product facts. Have 3 to 4 key points about your product or service to hand, not product features, real world stats or facts about how your product helped a company similar to your prospects. Look at the case studies produced by your marketing team. Number 2, qualification criteria. How are you going to judge if your prospect is ready to buy your product? At Cognism, in our sales team, we use the BANT formula. That's budget, authority, need, and time. Using open-ended questions on your call will help you qualify quicker. 3, pain points. Write down the common objections that prospects have when they encounter your product. Make sure you have an answer for each one. If you're not sure where to get this info, start by listening to your colleagues' best calls or sit on a product demo. And if you need more help with your cold calling script, Cognism has published several scripts online, so scroll down to the comments and I've put a link in there. Moving on to number 3, know who you're calling. What's the surest way to cold call failure? It's calling people you don't know anything about. Having an ICP is useful, but it can only take you so far. You need to investigate your prospects and their companies before you dial their number. Luckily, there's a wealth of information online for free that you can use to research your prospects. Start by finding your prospects on LinkedIn. This is a great place to find more about them. straight away you'll discover things like their interests, their career history, and any significant milestones like awards they've won or events they've appeared at. In particular, check their activity. What articles have they shared recently? What posts of their own have they written? This could provide a nugget of information that helps you make a personal connection. Seek out anything that'll help you build rapport. Okay, so we're done with the prep. It's time to pick up the phone. So what happens next? Number 4, get on the phone. No amount of role-playing and research can truly prepare an SDR for what can happen when a prospect picks up the phone. That's why at Cognism, we like to get our new starters cold calling straight away. We give them a little bit of product knowledge and a little bit of prospecting best practice. After that, it's simply time to get cold calling. We are firm believers that in B2B sales, the best way to learn is to do. It helps new SDRs build up the confidence and perfect their pitches. One thing our SDR team told me was that don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Even the top salespeople in your company have bad calls and they have bad days. The trick is to not let rejection get to you. Put down the phone, take a breather, and move on to the next call. The more you do, the more you'll get better. Number 5, be an active listener. This is a really easy one. When you're on a cold call, never talk more than your prospect. The secret to uncovering their pain points is to listen and let them speak. You can guide them by using open-ended questions, but always give your prospect the space to answer and follow up with questions of their own. Some good open-ended questions to ask are: what prompted you to explore our solution? What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? What's prevented you from relieving this pain? What would have happened if you did nothing about it? And how important is it to you to solve this quickly? Some studies have shown that a salesperson should just spend 30% of a cold call talking and 70% listening. Show me a great salesperson and I'll show you a great listener. Moving on to number 6, it's okay to go off script. While you should have a basic script in place, it's never a good idea to stick to it like glue. Here's how Cognism's sales team puts it. Your cold calls should feel like a natural conversation between two people. If the prospect goes off on a tangent, then follow them. You can't see the future and you can't predict the perfect route for a call to go down, so have a script nearby, but don't follow it rigidly. Steer the conversation naturally towards the end goal, booking that meeting, which brings us to always be closing. It's important to build rapport on a cold call, but what's an SDR's number 1 goal? That's right, it is to close. So remember your sales ABCs, always be closing. And what does this look like in practice? Let's say a prospect says something like, now's not a good time. Then you can reply with, okay, no problem, when works for you. Or if a prospect says, could you send me an email with some information? Then you could say, I could send you some more information, but by the time you've read through it, I could answer any questions you have. What would you like to know? Or it'll be quicker and more useful to show you the platform. How does this day at this time sound? Always try to turn an objection around and get that meeting booked. Moving on to number 8, always take notes. In the excitement of a cold call, when the adrenaline is flowing and you're concentrating on selling, you won't remember everything your prospect says. When it comes to updating your CRM, you're bound to miss out on a vital piece of information. The way around this is to note down really important stuff while you're talking and record the call to listen back later. Also, don't go mad with the note taking. If you're too busy scribbling, you might miss out some important cues for you to pitch or close. Only write down the things that either you or your AE will need to follow up on. Pro tip from Cognism's sales team is to have a notepad and pen next to you when you call, and as soon as the call ends, take a moment to tidy up your notes and add some detail. You could always listen back to the call recording if you think you missed out anything. Number 9, test, analyze, and adapt. The more calls you make, the more feedback you'll get. You'll get an idea about which aspects of your approach work and which do not. You'll find out whether you're targeting the right people. You'll learn more about your product's use cases for different industries. If you use call recording software, you'll have access to a wealth of sales data. Check it for trends and use them to improve. If something isn't working, change it. If something works well, double down. Nobody nails cold calling immediately. It's not an art, it's a science, and it takes a lot of work and experimenting to get it right. Lastly, number 10, have fun. Here at Cognism, we know that cold calling can be scary. Nobody wants to be thought of as a professional interrupter. No one wants to be on the receiving end of a hang-up, yet no salesperson has 100% record of success. Everybody gets hung up on from time to time. So what's the best way to overcome cold call nerves? Our sales team's advice was simple, was just have fun with it. There are all sorts of games you can play to keep your activity high and your spirits up. One thing is to challenge yourself to make as many calls as you can during an hour, then see if you can beat it the next hour, or you can gang up with one half of your team and dare the other half to a duel. Who can book the most amount of meetings in a day? Another fun thing to do is to share your war stories with your team. Who's had the funniest rejection? Who had the best and worst calls of the week? It's a great way of learning from others and improving your skills. You can also open a Slack channel dedicated to sharing sales success stories. Cognism has a best calls channel where our SDRs post recordings of the calls that went really well for them. Try all these things out and you'll soon find that your nerves will disappear and you'll be able to cold call with confidence. So there are Cognism's top 10 cold calling tips. What did you think? Are there any tips that you think that we've missed? Add them in the comments below. I'd love to share them with our SDRs. So stay tuned for my next video, which will be all about the mistakes you can make in B2B sales and how to avoid them. So until then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Cognism's YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.